Presently here in Elberton, Georgia, attending their Granite City Festival. And I figured I'd come down here to the railroad depots and get some photo and video of the buildings as they stand today. This is the Seaboard one. And then they've got a southern caboose here, a roller bearing caboose on display where the old depot track used to be. And that one over there is my next goal. Apparently it's an antique shop now, so I was going to walk in and see what they have. I'm curious in that sort of thing. Camera batteries are dying, so I won't be able to do much video or photos, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll get what I can and report back. Oh yeah. So this would have been the platform. There would have been a much longer overhang at one point, judging by the pillars here. And then there is the Abbeville sub as it goes to South Carolina. And then here it is going towards Atlanta. Filmed a train here 67 years ago. So I've made it over to the Southern Railway Depot, and you can see here, there, all throughout right in there, that's all foundations from the old Southern Railway passenger station that used to stand here. And I believe, if I recall right, it was demolished sometime in the early 60s or 70s once the passenger trains fell off. And this is all that's left of it right here, all this foundation stuff. But since the foundation is still here, if anybody wanted to rebuild the station, they could. In fact, that's probably the brick outline of the building right there in the ground. Just a little idea. And here's what put Elberton on the map. Granite sheds galore. So I'm going to cross the road and try to get photos of this depot while I'm here and before my battery dies. See you then. Yeah, I can see the draft coming through the boiler tubes right now. Yeah. Through the camera lens.
Yeah. The heat's being sucked through there.
How's your water looking?
I just got food loaded up with water, so it's ready.
That's good. And you said this was built in 1953? Yeah, 1953, and you're the third owner, right?
I'm the third owner. It actually was in Ohio when the guy put it together. Then it went to a guy in...
Yeah, I can see a bit of the fire coming out of the fire door there a little bit.
Yeah, when I cut the damper part off to do that.
Because it's trying to get whatever oxygen it can get.
Stop it from doing that, but...
Giving enough of a draft.
Yeah, so it sucks it that way.
And I'm guessing you're doing that to make sure everything's still lubricated and to get any condensate out of the cylinders, right? Yeah. I would imagine something like this would have little drain valves to get condensate out of the steam lines, right?
Yeah, everything's supposed to operate on steam, not water.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want condensate in your steam lines because that's when bad things happen.
Now that I know everything's clear, I'm going to go ahead and drop this in gear.
And off you go. And what was your name? Donovan. Pleasure to meet you, sir. You got a fine piece of equipment here. You really do.
You ever seen old steam locomotives sometimes that don't want to go forward?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you got to give them a little bit of a persuasion.
Just lick it till you need to go forward.
Yeah, in other words, sometimes you...
I'm in that position.
Yeah. Got to persuade it a little bit.
Slow that thing down, slow it down.
Good thing it doesn't go too fast. Yeah, you don't see many of these left because they got...
More of these than you do with these.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I know a lot of these were junked during World War II because of the scrap drives. Yeah.
Of 1886.
1886. So when did y'all acquire it?
My family, my second great grandfather bought it in 1886.
Oh, wow. Has the engine been in y'all's family?
No, the engine, I found the engine.
Fair enough.
I took 2 or 3 junk ones and built one just to be able to power with.
Ah. Fair enough. I'd say you did a good job on it. It's got a nice sort of beat to it, doesn't it? So they've got another engine there. Let's see what that's all about. And you can, of course, put a crank handle on it because if it kicks over, it can break your arm. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Oh, maybe. Nope. Might be the carburetor. Not getting a spark, maybe. Yeah, because you got to prime those, don't you, to get them started? I don't remember exactly how you start them. Well, that's the quirk with these older machines. Sometimes you got to persuade them a little bit. There's nothing.
He's on the way from here. Yeah, he's going to start it up. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Y'all see the steam tractor up earlier?
Yeah.
I'd like to have $1 for every time that thing turns around.
Well, given that it probably does like over 100 revolutions per minute.
What year is it? What year? 1909.
Wow.
I got a. It's air motor. It goes down the tail. Tail says the air motor on it. They made it warm water with the wind. Them are out here. South Bend Lee, 1920.
Got a stationary engine here, probably for an air compressor. Got another hit and miss. Love you still got like a manual pump handle just in case this sucker doesn't want to cooperate.
Wood and water.
I'm amazed they can run it that slow of an RPM.
Huh?
I'm surprised they can still run that at that slow of an RPM.
That way I don't have to.
Parade lap. That's the parade lap. I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. And this here is a corn husking machine. So what you do is you hold this down with your hand, and as you hold it down, you turn this crank and it shucks the corn kernels off and into this barrel here where you get all this, which can then be ground down into corn milk with that machine. Granted, I'm holding the thing with my phone with one hand and this with the other. And then the empty corn cob gets ejected out through here. And this can then be burned by that, which is where I'm taking it next. Moving from the corn kernel husker to this would be something you'd see in a grist mill. So you would put the corn kernels in here, like so, and then as you turn this handle here by hand, you'll get fresh made cornmeal. There's the reason they say stand clear. So I guess they're packing it up. Fair enough.
What she got down there pulling? It's the choo. They've done the hill climb. That's a pretty good hill too, isn't it?
Something I can't see. He goes nuts over something that ain't there. That's crazy.
You know what? That's weird that you brought that up. Because the last few nights, the last few nights that we've been watching TV, Augie starts barking at something, and we can't figure out what it is. And I said, well, maybe it's a moth, you know, because he's looking all up in the, and he looks all up in the ceiling and looks, and then he'll hush and he'll lay back down, and it ain't long he starts doing it again, and we're looking and we don't see anything.
Plot twist, the ceiling's full of ghosts.
And I'm like, damn, is it spooked here or what? You know?
Well, no, you
There's
can
tons
usually
of ghosts.
tell by the way a dog reacts whether it's something, you know, bad or not. You can tell by the way the dog acts.
Nothing there.
Thor's done it, and Lana has too, and it makes the hair on the back of her neck stand up.
It's like, who lives in your walls?
Well, Terry built that house. Nobody's ever passed it. I'll tell you one thing, I know for a fact it was back.
I know, I never
The
said to her.
crazy thing of it is, it was on the gray hair and a long gray beard. He had on a long coat that had that was real long, like probably back in the war.
Yeah, like Civil War.
Yeah, but he had no legs. All that, there was no legs, and his hands and his arms were just hanging to the side. He had on a hat, but it was like not a top hat, but it was a hat.
Like a Civil War hat.
No, it wasn't a Civil War hat. It was like look there. You don't see that often. It wasn't a top hat, but it wasn't a Civil War. Maybe it could have been. It could have been a Civil War hat. Look, it was. It could have been a Civil War hat.
Wide brim and the top was kind of simple.
It did have a wide brim, barely up, and it was about this tall. And it was just when I say
Flat on the top.
yeah, that's why I say. But it
Almost
wasn't
like
top.
Pilgrim. Like what puts you in
Maybe.
mind of like a Pilgrim's hat?
Maybe.
Like from the Mayflower.
I don't know about that.
Well, you know, like the Pilgrim
Maybe.
get up
Maybe.
for Thanksgiving.
What I need to do, seriously, is just sit down and see if I can draw.
It might be one of his ancestors or some shit.
Well, that's what I told her.
But I remembered the black chick that used to work at the courthouse that lives down below Janet Howard and has property there. She and I got to talking about Sophia is her name, and Janet Howard knows her and she knows them, and we got to talking one day, and she was telling me about all the weird, bizarre shit that happens down there because she's had several.
Tell her about me.
Well, yeah, we got to talking about just the weird shit that goes on down there, and she's like, honey, you don't know the half of it. And she was telling me about 2 or 3 different types of incidences of things down there. And she said one of the main reasons is because that was a heavily settled place a long time ago. And she said from settlers, but then she said it was also a heavily settled area for Native American Indians, and it was a battleground during the Civil War.
Oh, really?
And there was a lot of Civil War people that died in that area.
Well, let me tell you this.